I am going to go right into sharing my screen because I want to honor our 15-minute time slot here as much as possible. So you should be seeing our website. And the first thing I want to address, because I'm the Public Affairs Director, is the Public Affairs Plans, which we just got an extension for. So the extension for really the submission into e-services is 15 May. Now, it's probably a good idea to get those to me no later than 1 May if you haven't already gotten them to me. And the extension is so really it's for the crisis communications part to add in all these pandemic related stuff, right? But there's a number of squadrons who haven't been able to give me their public affairs plan, so you have a little more time now. To make that process easier for you, I have created a submission form on the website. So this was under the Public Affairs tab page here, but this should make it a lot easier for all your public affairs officers to just put the information in, don't worry about formatting. So I'll just do an example so you can see what the form looks like. So this should address all the different parts of the public affairs plan requirements in the regulations. And there's hints here for what you should be addressing in your plan. So strengths of your unit, weaknesses of your unit, opportunities, threats, so your SWOT analysis. There's a section about your goals, and then I have spaces here for 5 goals. If you're following this GHOST format here, goal, objective, strategy, and tactics, and then plus your measure of success and desired impact, these are all required elements from the public affairs regulation, then if you have 5 big goals, that's probably enough. It may be not realistic because each goal is going to have several different objectives or, and strategies underneath them. And then of course I can't move on without typing a bunch of stuff. The last part is contact information. So I know who has submitted, who I need to contact if there's a problem. And so I get this on the back side of the website, so I could review them and then get back to you. I get emailed when anybody submits a form. Are there any questions about the public affairs plans right now? Okay.
Do we have any samples of the information that we should be putting into these public affairs reports?
Yes, and I can email. So for the public affairs officers who are here, I can email you several plans that you could use. And I have plans from every squadron that you could use if you're a new public affairs officer, new to your squadron, and need some help with that. Just reach out to me and let me know.
So when I had to build ours for the 77th, I used helos and gens and just kind of mashed between the two. And you can make it your own, but there's a few key things I think she's pointing out to that need to be in there, or else you're going to get dinged for it. So that's why this form is really good. These are the things that you get dinged for if they're not in there. You can go above and beyond, and you can make it your own, and you can make it applicable to your unit. So. Yeah,
actually, please make it applicable to your unit. When I see that units have copied and pasted from each other, to the point where it doesn't make sense, then you're just doing the paperwork just to get that check in the box, but it's not helpful to you at all. I mean, why go through the effort if you're not going to make a plan that you can actually use? So please individualize it to your unit. If you don't have somebody that can maintain a website, don't aim to have a website this year. I mean, that's just the reality, or else you're going to fail. You're going to fail at that. If you want to make it a goal that you'll have somebody training to learn how to use the website platform, that can be your goal. And then the next year you can launch it and go crazy with it. You know, just try to make it realistic so that you can show some successes and some progress towards improvement.
I mean, it's pretty much a mandatory thing to look at your last year's plan anyway, because I think the next screen is going to force you to provide an estimate or a measure of each of the goals and objectives that you had from the last year. So that's always a good starting point, is pull up last year's plan. And then, like, I agree with Jan, make it simple, unless you've got like 5 really motivated public affairs officers. If you're like most units and you have 1 that you've just assigned this year, keep your goals and objectives achievable.
Hey, Jen, I'll take one of those Gouge files. Looks like I'll be doing it this year.
Okay. I will definitely send that out. The commanders should all have access to the shared folders on the Google Drive, and I will resend that to you, or make a link from the website, something that will make it easier for everybody. I think we're big fans of Google Forms, Google Folders, and things like that, but I tend to lose my way in all the different folders nowadays. There's so many. So 724, I want to move on down the line on my list here, but if anybody has any questions about public affairs plans, shoot me an email. You can fill my box. I'm going to try not to fill yours. The next thing I want to show you on this website, though, is going to be under emergency services. Because we are facing something totally crazy with COVID-19, our response as an organization, as Civil Air Patrol, may not be what we've done in the past. So here we have a form for you to indicate your availability to do something. If you are mission qualified, then you already know what I'm talking about, and you can just make a note here what you can do. We've had probably 12 or 15 people fill this form already since it was sent out last night, and the responses have been great. You can indicate different times on different days. There's a drop down here for your unit, your cadet grade, and I want to point this out, cadet parents or other people that are friends of CAP, I guess you could say, who are sort of affiliated with us and want, have suggestions for helping. They can enter something here in this form too, because we want to know what you think we can do. I have this introduction here, from making a mask and other protective gear, making welfare check phone calls. Cadets can be doing that. They can be calling our elderly folks and referring them. If we can't actually provide something for them, then maybe we can refer them to outside resources who can help them. And then we have our other missions. Any questions on that? That's under emergency services. Okay. I made a section called member support. There we go. A couple of things here. This is not by no means complete, but there's this virtual meetings, tips, tricks, and best practices. We know that there's some security risks that have been brought up with Zoom. Here's a couple of resources for you to try to keep up with all that. But then I'm adding other platforms, Google Hangouts, I need to add GoToMeeting and some other ones that have been mentioned. Discord, I believe HIWG is using Discord. So those are going to get added on here. If you have, well, I'll get to that in a second. So engagement tools. I mentioned Kahoot and Flipgrid here, and then from Maui, I think it was Maui, has been using TeamViewer to proctor online tests. Here's where I want you guys to pay attention, because you can help me. You can help me populate this page with more ideas, tips, tricks, and what you're finding to be best practices. So please don't be shy about helping out there. On the other side of that is this, request for wing support. If you feel like you need something, let us know. And I think I could just leave it at that. I haven't, might have thought I would have started with this COVID-19 page. I've been gathering everything here. This is obviously it's a little widget that helps you decide whether or not you need to seek medical care. But then there's a microsite from the CDC that's embedded here, as well as CAP's own, National's own COVID-19 information page. And then the last one on my list before I ask Lieutenant Markle to come on the line. That's not our site. This one is. Right here, right in the middle of the homepage is a non-discrimination policy button. If you hit that, you get this very, very easy to use form. Read this, fill this out. We're all required to do it. And I don't remember off the top of my head what the suspense date was, but it should be done by now. So everybody please jump online and get that done. All right. Does anybody have any questions on what I've discussed so far? Not hearing anything. Stop sharing my screen. Okay, Lieutenant Markle is our Director of Information Technology, and I asked him to jump on the line here. Are you here?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
There you are. Okay, great. To address, the vulnerabilities that we've been hearing about with Zoom and things like that, or whatever else. And then we'll turn over to Colonel Ross.
Yeah, so Zoom, I've been looking into it today. For the most part, can't really say I'm too concerned about it. The only, a lot of the big things I've been seeing is if the attacker if they have local access to your computer, they can install files directly into Zoom that would give them access. But again, I don't think anyone has attackers in their home, so I'm not too concerned with that there. The other big one was with Mac users. I think it was, there's code that gets, if any code gets put in, I can potentially give people access to the webcam and the microphone, again, without them knowing. But again, it's kind of, so that's more of a, if there's someone in on the meeting, they could potentially send that code. But with the way we have it set up now, so Jen, you set it up with password, you have to kind of register for it. Now, is that like an approval process, or does it automatically send that to you?
So the registration, so we can set up the meetings where you have to register in advance. Mm-hmm. And that and Zoom has actually made all meetings automatically password protected. So okay. The important part though is that members do not forward their confirmation emails. So after you register, you get a confirmation email. You must not forward that to your buddy who didn't register. We've seen that happen, and that's a big no-no, because then you risk that your unique sign-in it gets out to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Daryl, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, so we had somebody Zoom bomb us in our cadet meeting just this half hour ago. So yeah, so it looks like they weren't able to get control of anything, but it was a little bit of a nuisance. But we did the same thing. We had a registration with password, and they were still able to get in.
Mm.
Were they able to get in under their own? I mean, were they under another person's name, or were they under, like, can you tell us a little bit more about the situation so we can understand it a little bit better?
Yeah, so I kept the monitor in one of my windows of all the people who were in the Zoom meeting. We had something like 29 participants, and so you know, when going through them all, because you know, I go through them all just to mute and unmute people who, you know, might have muted themselves by accident or unmuted themselves by accident.
Mm.
And there was somebody who had logged in under Chen Jin. And so, in the chat, I asked them who they were, and they replied to me in Chinese. So I basically kicked them out of the meeting.
Mm.
But the person, the host of the meeting, can kick people out. So I guess a good thing to do is to just keep an eye on the participants in the meeting. You can bring up a little box and scroll through them all. And if you see anyone that's kind of a little strange, you know, send them a chat or kick them out.
Thank you.
No problem.
So can I bring up one point too, that because I let my own personal room out for wing use for about 1.25 years, and we turned that off last week. So if anyone has that old passwordless account and they expect to just get on Zoom and be able to host a meeting, you won't be able to do that. And we're going to move forward in a, you know, productive way. But if anyone needs private meetings, you're still free to email and coordinate with Jen or I, and we'd be glad to set up private meetings for you up to a certain point. Once we get overloaded, then it's your responsibility to use a different platform or do it yourself. So.
All right, Kaz, are you ready to talk
I
about
am.
Wreaths Across America?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I just wanted to advise everyone that this year we are hoping that almost all the squadrons participate in Wreaths Across America. The primary goal of Wreaths Across America is to, in fact, remember those individuals who have gone prior to us, meaning those individuals who served in the military and who are now resting in various cemeteries and veteran cemeteries throughout this nation, to honor their memory and, of course, the future memory, because we will have many members who are in CAP presently who will one day actively join the military or become other types of service individuals. And all of these individuals should, in fact, be honored. And finally, is that those individuals who have no idea why wreaths are being placed on the grave sites of veterans and individuals in veteran cemeteries, to at least let them know why that is happening. So that's the purpose. This year, we're hoping to have the ceremony on 19 December 2020. We will have hopefully at least one ceremony at the Punch Bowl. And last year, the Hickam Squadron was the host agency that provided that ceremony. We had over 100 people who actually came out and helped lay the wreaths. We had the cadets lay the honorary wreaths, which are designated by service. So there's one for the Army, one for the Navy, Air Force, and so on, as well as wreaths for those individuals whose remains were never sort of missing in action. So though all of those presentation wreaths were also placed at the cemetery, as well as just wreaths for all individuals who in fact participated in the ceremony. Now this picture's going up. So we're hoping that at least you can go back to your squadrons and use Jennifer as your contact point, and hopefully talk to your members and see if they would like to get involved in the Wreaths Across America program. Now, this is one of the things that I'm hoping to do, is to have these types of ceremonies not only on Oahu, but also on the neighbor islands. There are state veteran cemeteries in all the neighbor islands: Molokai, Lanai, Maui, the Big Island. We have 3 cemeteries. I say we because I used to be part of the agency that created all of the cemeteries, and of course Oahu, which we have 2. We have, you know, like the National Cemetery of the Pacific, but many people now are also interred or laid to rest at the Hawaii State Veterans Cemetery, which is in Kaneohe. So there are options for various cemeteries that various units can in fact say that we would like to be the sponsor for that particular cemetery, as well as there are some private cemeteries that have participated in the past. So it's a wide field. What you would require as a sponsor would be to in fact receive the wreaths and have people out there to place the wreaths and to pick up the wreath, which is more difficult since many people will show up to place wreaths, but only a smaller number actually comes back and helps with the retrieval and placement, replacement of the wreaths. So go back to your squadrons and think about participation. There's a lot of information on the website, and we will have various information on the website that will help those squadrons that think that they would like to sponsor Wreaths Across America program. Any questions?
Yeah, this is Wayne. There's some fundraising associated with this for units as well, is there not?
That is correct. What happens is the sponsoring agencies also receive funding from Wreaths Across America based on the number of wreaths that are purchased by individuals within the community.
So I had asked Colonel Ross to, for now, kind of downplay the fundraising part, but yeah, $5 of every $15 wreath purchase can go back to your unit. It's just kind of crazy, uncertain times, and fundraising during this time may seem a little bit insensitive, depending on how we go about it. But if you all have any, ideas about that, then please let us know. I'm helping Colonel Ross coordinate the ceremony at Punch Bowl, as well as doing what I can to help him. He is a state coordinator, so that's a big thing. It's a big thing. A lot of groups are supporting Punch Bowl. Several groups support the Kona, the West Hawaii Veteran Cemetery at Kona. But as he said, we'd like to see other cemeteries covered. For now, let's emphasize the Remember, Honor, and Teach missions of Wreaths Across America. I'd love to see all the cadets out there laying wreaths down. And with that, I just think we should call it a wrap because we're over time. No, sorry. But I appreciate everybody's attention. And if you have any questions, shoot us an email, shoot me an email, let me know.